Hey guys, it's Michelle and I'm here to just do a little free training around making money. As many of you guys may have seen, I launched the Cash Creation Code just Sunday, just August 2nd. And the people who are going through that program are already seeing huge shifts in how they approach sales. And not only just shifts in how they approach sales, but also shifts in how their approach to sales is beginning to turn into money and turn into clients or patients or customers or what have you. So I'm really excited about this, but I did want to come and do a public training because a couple weeks ago I went to my list at large and I asked people to let me know what their problems were in business, like what questions they had for me. And a lot of it was around selling, right? Like, I'm just not making the money that I want to make, and like, how can you help me with that? And those are good questions. So so hold on one second. I am getting calls about my son. I am live. Please contact Chris or CJ. All right. Sorry about that. We're in a little bit of a hurricane situation, and the hurricane is actually over. But in our area, there's a lot of cleanup, and my son was going down to make some money, and now I don't believe they need him. So I was trying to get that information to him. So let me just share this to my personal page. If you guys know somebody who should be watching this to learn how to make more money, particularly during the pandemic and the civil unrest and everything that's going on, not just in our country, but in the world, definitely share this with them because it would be really helpful. Oh shoot, I shared my story. Sorry about that. I do want to make sure as many people as should see this definitely see this. So what I'm going to share is actually like a timeless principle. It's not something that is new to the pandemic. It's not something that's new to 2020. It's something that I've kind of like beat my chest about and, been annoyingly persistent about for decades now, right? So, but the truth is, if you're not making the money that you need, or like maybe you have the money that you need, but you're frustrated because you aren't making the money that you deserve to be making in your business, right? So like if that's happening, then this live will really, it might be a little bit confronting. There could be a little bit of a tendency to think me even more of a simpleton than you think me already. It could be something you feel like you already do, but I really want to drill it down with you. So, if people are not making the money that they should be making or could be making in their business, whenever somebody asks me that, and they're a Women Who Wow member, or they're going through one of my digital programs or whatever, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, okay, you're not making the money, you're not making the sales, et cetera, but how many people did you ask to buy from you yesterday, right? How many people did you ask to buy from you yesterday? This is often a confronting question because they start to spin a little bit in their heads. Like, wait a minute, like yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, one simple day, like your average day. How many people did you invite to do business with you? How many people did you ask to work with you? How many people did you have a sales conversation with, right? And oftentimes when people aren't making the money that they want to make, they're spending their time not selling, right? And I understand business, guys. I only now really have a team that helps me. I did, a lot in my business, huge feats in my business, and I did it without a team or with like a bare bones team, which actually I guess my team is pretty much bare bones now. But I understand all the frustration of all the things you feel like you have to do or you should do to look a certain way in order to get to the point where you need to sell. But I just want to remind you that you never earn the right to sell. You earn the sale itself, right? And a lot of times we spend our days preparing to sell, or glossing up a funnel which will one day sell, or pitching ourselves to speak in a stage where we might be able to sell, right? Like we do all these things, but we're not selling. And so if you are not making the money that you need to make, like it's going to be helpful to you if you're an honest person, if you're a critical thinker, if you're willing to see inconvenient truths, right? Like it's going to be a good thing for you to realize, oh, I get it. I'm not making money because I'm not selling, right? And so this is a really great thing. It's just like if I'm trying to think of an analogy, right? Like if your car wouldn't start, and you're all of a sudden thinking like, oh my God, I bought a lemon, this car is never gonna start. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute, I just need to put gas in it, right? And it's like, oh, simple, easy, I can definitely do that. And so when you're not making the money that you wanna make, you're not selling, right? That's if you're selling, you're making money. It's the only way entrepreneurs make money, right? And so, but here's the thing. A lot of people might be watching this, and you might be one of them, where you're thinking, oh my God, I'm selling, right? And it's like, no, there's a difference between giving away free content. There's a difference between live streaming and blogging and ranting and sharing. Okay, all of those things are amazing. I do them every day, right? Like this is my garden. I come to nurture it every single day. I'm not a lazy farmer, right? Like I'm coming and having a conversation with my market every single day, but I'm also selling. These things can be, vehicles to the sale, certainly. Side note, if you're not in Cash Creation Code, definitely there's still time for you. BMichellePippin.com/Cash Creation Code. Get in there. We just started August 2nd and you can still catch up. It's going to make you have your best income month ever, right? But the thing is that you don't want to just come and rant and share your wisdom on Facebook and do the Instagram lives. And you don't want to do all that if you're not actually selling, right? Because that's like a hobby or hubris or conceit or something, right? Like we want to make sure that we are coming here to serve and to sell if we're in business. Right? Frankly, even if we're in ministry, we come to serve and we also want to sell on a particular call to action, right? Like it is what it is. And so the timeless principle really is best demonstrated by asking yourself the question, how many people did I ask to buy from me yesterday if sales are a problem? Whenever I look at my numbers and they are not where I would expect them to be, or I'm like, wait a minute, like something's wrong here. I look back at my calendar and I'm like, holy crap, I have been behind the scenes. I have been not selling. I have been doing a bunch of work for my business, pat me on the back, super fancy and professional, but I'm not selling, right? So when you want to go in and start selling, right, you can think about things like, it's not so much like the infomercials, although infomercials have been around a long time. They're going to keep being around a long time because they work. Side note, I'm always watching infomercials. I don't often buy from them, but I like to watch them, particularly the ones that have been around a long time, right? If these infomercials have been around for a long time, guys, they are pulling in loot, right? Like they are really making a difference. So certainly I watch them. I watch for rhythms and cadence and calls to action. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a serious student of marketing and selling, and I encourage you to be as well. But you know, I'm not asking you to be like, and if you buy now, you get this, and if you buy now, and be in something that you're not, right? But I am asking you to invite people in to buy from you. A lot of business these days is timid, right? We post a bunch of stuff and we hope they see our wisdom and that they obviously want to buy from us and they know how to buy from us, right? And it's like, don't be so conceited, girl. You need to invite people to buy from you. You need to make sure they understand, right? And what I'm seeing is a lot of ranting and sharing and posting and giving away stuff and acting so, my wisdom is so perfect, but I see very little prescribing. I see very little side note, buy this. I see very little, if you're having this problem, buy this program. I see very little, contact my office for an appointment. I see very little, here's the link to make your appointment. You got to pay first because I'm a serious professional. I see very little of that going on, right? I see very little, when did you want to get started? And this is a timeless principle. If you want to sell more, and you do, because that's where you make your money, If you want to sell more, for God's sakes, you got to ask more people to buy. This is a simple, timeless principle. It's never going to be different. Now, in the earlier stages of your business, like, you know, you're asking people to buy your nose to nose and toes to toes, right? Like it's maybe one-on-one or over coffee when you can do that again or whatever, right? And later maybe in print or in funnels or via video or whatever. Like we can certainly fancy it up, but for God's sakes, you got to ask people to buy, right? If you notice those infomercials, the profitable ones, the ones that are around year after year after year, relatively unchanged, those are the ones to watch. And you'll notice that very, you know, it's conversational. It might even be entertaining if you're into that sort of thing. But every few minutes they're saying, and buy now, right? Don't miss out. Buy now, buy now, buy now. And so if money is a problem, you just need to ask more people to buy from you. And here's the deal with the pandemic and the civil unrest and, you know, whatever else can be otherwise known as 2020. Okay? So when you are in the position we are in, well, in every situation, human psychology comes into play, right? Like, I love human psychology. I love watching human behavior. Even when I'm appalled by it, it's still interesting to me. And the pandemic has only made the principle of needing to directly ask people to buy from you even more critical. And because we're a wee bit distracted, right? We are a wee bit distracted. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of thoughts. There's just a lot going on, guys. And so we are, during this time, we need to be more direct with our asks, with our invites. We need to be much more direct, and we've got to be more repetitive. And I hate this, right? Like, I don't want to be a broken record, but we've got to be, because the human aspect, every business is human to human. It doesn't matter if it's B2B or B2C or whatever, right? It's person to person. That's the way it works. And so people that you're selling to have a lot going on, not just in their homes and not just in their workplace and not just in their communities and not just in their families, but also in their heads. And so if you had told me 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't have the money that I need, or I don't have the money that I deserve, or I don't know what's going on with the money and the income isn't what it is, I would ask you the same thing. Who'd you sell to yesterday, right? Like I would have asked you that because I would have wanted you to fix the income problem, right? Then we can leverage, and then we can scale, and then we can grow, and we can do all these other things, but fix the income first. That's the simplest part. Right? And a business without income is a business without fuel. It's a business without anything to grow it on, right? So we've got to get the income settled. And that's just selling. That's just straight up selling. Afterwards, we can do the funnels. Certainly. We can do it at the same time if you're willing, if you've got the time, right? But we need to fix the selling. And so even 8 years ago, I would have said this to you. But today, you know, it's even more important, because all of those like blog posts you're posting, videos, or whatever, if you're not directly saying, buy the Cash Creation Code, which you should totally buy the Cash Creation Code. It's the most affordable program I've ever offered, at least in a decade, I think. So definitely, I'll put the link in the comments below. I'm actually getting ready to go on for our first live Q&A for the Cash Creation Code. We're going to cover a lot of topics, but publicly, I just wanted to kind of kick your butt around, making sure that you are actually selling if you want to make money, and reminding you that in these times, in this environment, your selling, your asks, your invites, they've got to be more direct, because subtleties are not, they're being missed. And you've got to be repetitive. Ask more than one time. People are busy, they're distracted, they're worried, they're afraid. They've got a lot going on all around them and within them. So it's an important lesson for us. But anyway, if you guys have any questions for me, definitely message me in.me/womenwhowow. If you want information about the Cash Creation Code, message me or drop a comment in. Share this video with somebody who needs a little butt kicking around selling in their business. And I will talk with you guys later. I got to hop on with our Cash Creation Coders in just a couple minutes. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.